Alright, hello everybody. I'm bringing you a pre-match tactical video of the fleet that I'm bringing for tomorrow night's match against Durandal 343. This particular fleet is called Sloan Double Glad, trying out obviously Commander Sloane and the Quasar Wave 6 ship. This will be the first time using this particular fleet. So let's get started. Right now I'm trying out the Blockade. Mostly I'm bringing this Blockade objective here because we haven't played it very often, and I feel like I could use a little bit more practice with it. I don't anticipate going being second player here, but not guaranteed. So Hyperspace Assault and Superior Positions are the other ones. We'll kind of come back to those. So as the title implies, we've got two Gladiator class Star Destroyer, one Demolisher, one Insidious, both with Ordnance Experts, both with Assault Proton Torpedoes, and then the Quasar Fire first class will be carrying Admiral Sloane. I took Squall as the title, Flight Commander, and 2 expanded hangar bays. And I'll come a little bit back to that on what my thinking was with these upgrades. And then to round off as a 4th activation is a Raider First Class Corvette with Ordnance Experts and external racks, just as another close range heavy hitter. Squadrons here, obviously going a bit squadron heavy with Sloane, trying to maximize her effectiveness. It's going to be 3 Redshirt TIE Interceptors and Sienna Ree, along with 2 TIE Defender Squadrons, and Dangar to add the counter, the intel, and also a swarm. The idea being that they can, that these fighters can act in either all together as a big ball or in 2 separate squadron balls of 2 interceptors and 1 defender each, or just all together. So that's 7 fighters. I typically try to do an even number of fighters, but I couldn't fit it in on this fleet. So so let's roll back up to the Quasar here. The Quasar can activate up to 6 squadrons with these expanded hangar bays, and with a token all 7. So the Quasar, at least every other turn, or at least once to start with, can activate all 7 squadrons at once, and then at some point these TIE Interceptors and stuff will start dying, and then it'll still be able to activate all of the fighters. So that's the idea, is that the Quasar will be able to push all the fighters that I have in any given turn. The interesting idea that I had here with the Flight Commander and Squall kind of pairing together is that what I'll be able to do with the Squall is move these squadrons at the beginning of the activation up to 2, then move the Quasar, and then activate the squadrons. So you can really kind of fling these suckers far. You can start it deploying with these. The idea being that we may even be able to alpha strike something turn 1, definitely by turn 2. These interceptors can be moved 2 and then fly their 5. And then hopefully the Quasar will be able to then move the next turn to get close enough to him to activate him again after it moves. So the idea being is that the threat radius of these squadrons with this Quasar is a lot further than at first glance. Couple that with being able to hopefully be first player with both of these Gladiators and this Raider trying to stagger when we can jump in and pop something here. So alpha strike with the fighters, burn off some tokens, and then pop in and with the heavy hitters to finish off whatever's damaged. So we'll see. I've never flown this type of fleet before, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Hyperspace Assault was brought along as a threat. I typically don't like bringing this one because I don't like losing the deployment of putting a ship in hyperspace, and even with this one I wouldn't put any squadrons with it. Superior positions is a pretty obvious choice with this many fighters, to be able to not worry about being out deployed, and then also being able to do damage with the squadrons and ships. So yeah, those are kind of my reasonings behind it. Next, I'm going to show you a few ideas I've had of how I'm going to fly it. I don't have as specific of an idea on how this is going to fly as I did with some of my other fleets. I'm kind of still testing this one out. So yeah, that's coming up next. Okay, so my plan for deployment is going to be to deploy. I typically try to delay my bigger ships or my most valuable ships until last. But because of how I want to use my fighters here, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So I think I may just declare right out of the gate where the Quasar goes and either put him on one side of the map or another, facing towards a little bit towards the center, a little bit at an angle. From there, I'll go ahead and deploy 3 squadrons at distance, right at distance 2, right in front of him. The next squadrons will be off to the side at distance 2 as well, here. So there's more overlap then. I'm not worried about overlapping these first 3 because I'll be moving them with squall. My last squadron will have to wait till the end. From there, it's going to depend on what he does. If he's placing admonition or foresight or one of those MC-30s over here at the flank, I'll have to respond by placing a Gladiator, and I need to remember to give enough room here to protect that flank. If he's deploying to the rest of the side, then what I'll do is I'll probably be placing the Gladiators here at a staggered formation. The idea being that and I can even still do this and leave the Raider over here to protect this flank if need be. If not, I can put the Raider here for anti-squadron support, or move him all the way out here on the far flank. So where I'm going to deploy him will depend heavily on how he deploys his fleet. So for the sake of argument, we'll put him here on this unprotected flank. He's going to be going speed 2, and both of the Gladiators will be going speed 1. From there, the activation order will be pretty simple. Going first player, I'll probably move the Raider here up at speed 1 and bank a navigate token. And same with these guys. Move them at speed 1 each, banking a navigate token to allow them to jump up to speed 3 whenever they need be. And I may even try and stagger these guys as much as possible so that they're further staggered up. When the Quasar activates, I'll be able to squall these up to a distance of 2, giving him enough maneuverability to execute his speed 2 maneuver. Maybe not. This is why we fly these things the first time, so make sure I leave myself enough space, move him 2, so that I can get this thing in here, move him up. Whether I turn him or face the rest of the fleet, it's going to depend heavily on where Dan's moved. The idea being that hopefully he's jumped at least one of his ships up to speed 3 to try and threaten me early in the game. If he has, great. That means with flight controllers, I can now activate all of my squadrons and alpha strike whatever he's left hanging out there at speed from a speed 5 maneuver. I can go pretty far. Dangar will follow behind. If he hasn't, then most likely what I'll do is keep the fighters fairly close by. And again, repeating the step from before, which is essentially leaving these guys enough space so that when the squall activates, he can keep pushing them. The idea being is going to be to push the Quasar out first as an enticing target, and then force him to come at it to at least utilize these squadrons to either start pulling off defense tokens of ships or whittling down his aces for his fighter screen. From there, the idea would be that once we've whittled down several of his defense tokens, these guys are primed to jump up at speed 3. He can stay at speed 1. The next turn he'll go. This turn he'll jump up to speed 3. And then this guy's a follow-up to clean up whatever survives, he'll clean up. So it's not the most refined plan. It's the first time I've flown this fleet, so I don't have a really clear concept yet on how I want to fly it, but that's the best I've come up with, so we'll see how it works out.
Welcome, welcome. We are going to be playing another game of Armada tomorrow, and I have a new fleet that I have not tried out yet, ever. This will be a completely new process for me, so we'll see how it goes. Let's look at the fleet. We're going to try and make this a little bit quicker than last time. Here it is. I have an extra MC-30 now. Instead of just 2, I have 3, and we're going to see how they fly together. I've usually done a minimal fighter fleet with a lot of big ships, or a big bomber ball centered on Yavaris and maybe an MC-30 to kind of anchor it. This time I'm doing something a little different that's a little more balanced. You might say, ha, that's not balanced, it's got 3 MC-30s, they're all the same thing, but I really think that this will be a little bit more balanced with bombering and shooting at ships with other ships. The Nebula MB is going to be my carrier. It is the escort version. It has on it, well, it's Yavaris, obviously, so I can turn 3 bombers into 6 bombers. Its squadron value is 2. I almost always take Ramus Antilles on there to get an extra squadron command when I need it. So that makes him be able to push 3 squadrons. While we're talking about my squadrons, I'm bringing 2 generic X-Wings, 2 generic B-Wings, Nora, and a generic Hawk for intel. I was going back and forth between Nora, and I also like having 10 nub just to help mitigate other squadron balls, but in the end I decided Nora was the way to go because it really helps me get through those other ships' shields. You can see I have more than 3 squadrons, which is all I can push with my Yavaris, and that's okay. The main bomber force should be the Y-Wing and the 2 B-Wings. The X-Wings are there for escort, so everything doesn't get blown up, and obviously the intel's there for intel. So if for whatever reason I lose one of my bombers, my X-Wings, I was thinking about bringing the YTs, since the B-Wings are only speed 2 and the X-Wings are 3, and the YTs are 2 and they have more hull. But if I need to, I can still bomb with my X-Wings, which is handy. So I brought them as escorts instead of the YTs. I decided not to bring Jan, who is helpful in these squadron balls, but again, this isn't an all-out squadron attack. I was trying to save some points and put it into my ships. This is getting long enough. We need to talk about my other ships. The next one, I have, well, the next 3. They're fairly similar. All 3 of the MC-30s come with Ordnance Experts because I hate rolling black dice. That's really frustrating. One of them, that's all it is. It's just Ordnance Experts. And these are the torpedo versions, no long-range dice. So I'm going to have to get close to things to shoot at them. The second torpedo frigate is Ordnance Experts and Rapid Reload. That's a very expensive upgrade, and I haven't tried it yet. But hey, when 3 black dice is great, 4 is even better. The last MC-30 is Ordnance Experts and APTs, Assault Proton Torpedoes. And I'm going to have to figure out how to fly these things and what order to fly them in, and this will be a little bit of an experiment tonight. My General, Medine, is who I'm going with because I love flying these MC-30s with Medine. They can do all sorts of really awesome, amazing things. And that's my fleet. Let's talk a little bit about how I am going to fly it. Okay, so when I'm setting up my obstacles, again, I'm going to try to have a similar setup as I usually do. You notice in most of my games we end up with something that looks a lot like this, and a station could be here instead of an obstacle, and then this obstacle will be, you know, over here causing trouble, hopefully. So for my ships, the big plan is going to be to keep them together because I don't want Yavaris dying, but also I only have a 4-point bid here, so I'm okay going second. I'm not going to talk about my objectives right now because we don't have time, but I'm okay if we have to go second and wait people out because I think I can still get some good shots in. Yavaris is going to be my centerpiece basically, and so he is going to go in the center. Now I'm flying B-wings with Yavaris, so it's a struggle to get them where they need to go. So I'm going to have to kind of wait for people to come to me. So Yavaris is going to go kind of out here like this. And he's going to probably start out going 1. He'll take a nav dial first, a nav, command first turn to get that token. And he'll just plod along at speed 1. I'll have a little squadron ball here with some bombers, hopefully protected by escort, with intel in the middle. Actually, Nora's probably going to want to be in the middle, and my intel hopefully doesn't get shot at. I'll have a little squadron ball. It'll be great. And they're going to go out here, kind of in front of Yavaris. They're going to be a little closer to Yavaris. Somewhere in that range is where they're going to end up being. And hopefully he doesn't, hit them. That'll be the idea. We'll keep him from hitting them. And they're going to go along with him slowly. The idea being not to engage them before, not to break up my ball and try and jump out there at something. I want to hit things right. Now I have my 3 torpedo frigates. I need to figure out how I'm going to deploy them. Ideally, these torpedo frigates want to jump in against something and then wait and activate first, or have 2 targets so they can activate second and want to shoot at something still. So they're going to want to jump into the thick of things, but not get jumped themselves. I don't want to make the mistake of having 2 of these in here and having to decide which one I'm going to activate and let one get shot at and not be able to move. So let's say there's an enemy ship here. This is a problem I don't want to have. I don't want these 2 getting here at the same time. So I want to stagger them because he would shoot and run away, and then he would still be stuck here, and he'd probably activate and get out of here. It doesn't work well. So what I'll probably do is I'll have one of these going at 2 on this side to kind of protect Yavaris. Another one over here going 2 on this side. And I will probably follow with another one going 1 first turn and then speed him up to 2 the next turn. He'll probably want to go over here where the squadrons aren't so that I don't get stuck. And with any luck, we will hit with squadrons and with torpedo frigates all at the same time. Yavaris tends to die to Demolisher because its sides only has 1 shield. That's why we have all these things here. If Demolisher wants to hop in here and get destroyed by my squadrons and other things, great. Hop right on in there. If he's first and he gets to last first me, that's a little bit of an issue. Hopefully I can have a trailer that still is threatening him. Hopefully Yavaris survives and can still send some squads after him. It's something I have to deal with. A last first from Demolisher is just it's a real struggle. If I'm going against front arcs of big Star Destroyers, my main plan is going to be not sit in their front arcs for very long, jump in, maybe take 1 round of shooting, and then shoot myself going second, and maybe position another one back here so that when he moves, and after he shoots at this guy, he'll have to move into range of another one of my my MC-30s here, and I'll be able to shoot at him again. So if I can threaten, if I'm second player, make him move, have someone here to shoot at him after he moves, that would be awesome. First player, it's easy. You jump in at the end of your turn after someone's activated, then activate first. Going second player, that's going to be my plan, is to threaten with 1 and force him to move into my arcs. Okay, I will probably do something like that, and that'll be my deployment, and we will see how it goes tomorrow. Thanks for watching.